Hey, it's CJ in Shreveport, Louisiana. We are about to have a major storm. It's actually starting, so that's kind of cool. But that's not what I'm talking about. I want to talk about this Disney holiday special, the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. Uh, I thought it would be really hard to do this and not bring up the 1977 Star Wars uh, holiday special. Okay, so that is probably and it kind of gets smacked for being like a terrible, that particular holiday special. I'm going to tell you, I saw it in 1977 as a really small kid. I did not see the movie Star Wars. Uh, a lot of people, it's like, oh my God, it was the bane of the franchise. Uh, but it was meant to be kind of a one-off holiday celebration. It had not become what it had become. They would not be doing the holiday thing today. They wouldn't be doing it today. Uh, but this was 1977 in a galaxy far, far away, and they're celebrating Christmas, I figure. And it was all about the Wookiees. So Chewbacca was going to go back to the family, and they had his parents, the mama Chewbacca and the daddy Chewbacca that sat around, and then there was like a little brother, and they just grunted at each other, kind of like not making words the way I normally speak. I can't do it, but that's what they would like. You that is how the family talked to each other. It was so funny. Uh, like, and then the dad was just wanting to sit in the easy chair and be left alone, and the mother was uh, bustling in the kitchen for the holiday meal or whatever. And I don't know. Anyway, um, and I got to thinking, well, they got to know over at Disney that this is going to be reminiscent of that holiday special. And I'm even more convinced now because check this out. Check this out. That opening is so reminiscent of the vintage television networks, the ABC, the CBS, the NBC, but particularly the ABC and the CBS. They would have those, you know, yeah, and a little bit of a HBO thrown in there too. But really, HBO did specials. But really, this kind of reminds me of the networks. Okay, so before cable television, and I want to say 19 mid 70s is when I think it had to be around 77, 76. I don't know. We didn't have uh, I was suddenly aware that all of a sudden everybody on my block, in our little, I want to say cul-de-sac, but it was a cul-de-sac that was a cul-de-sac because it was a dead end road and there just happened to be houses around the dead end. I mean, it wasn't like a curved cul-de-sac. There was nothing, whatever. It was Teague Street over in Bossier City. Our backyard bordered with the Air Force Base and the golf range. So like we were always having, golf balls, So, and that was the year of the great big blizzard. We had huge snow. I mean, and it lasted. I remember that. It was like we didn't know what to do. I was a kid. I was like my first. Oh my god, snow that lasted for weeks. We had another one of those last year. I hope we don't have another one this year. But anyway, the Snowmageddon, was it just last year or was it the year before? I don't know. We called it Snowmageddon. We seem to forget that happened in the mid 70s here too. And we were like everything. Uh, I don't know if it was quite as bad as the one that we just went through because that snow would have stuck around, but we had two uh, the snowy events back to back that kind of like stacked onto it. But anyway, what I want to talk about basically is this special. It's kind of cool. But how it reminds me of when we only had three networks, like, because there wasn't like broadcast was great, but it would not necessarily, if you didn't have uh, the receiving and the broadcasting didn't reach, there's a lot of rural areas in America that was not getting one or more of the three major networks, and maybe they weren't even getting short range television, the UHF, which was basically the AM of the of the spectrum for television. So it's like um, that created the advent of cable, and so early on you just had that cable. But I don't remember seeing the Star Wars in the theater because we couldn't afford it. But I do remember seeing that holiday special that this opening reminded me of, and then of course there was a Donnie and Marie. They were like a big variety show. Donnie and Marie Osmond, brother and sister team. And if you're in America, you know who they are. And so, but they had a variety show, and so they had like the little Star Wars themed special where they would have the occasional. I think the robots C-3PO and R2-D2. I think they made a cameo. But yeah, um, it was. But that was we quit. We didn't get to go see the movie, so that special. That was special for us as a kid. Me as a kid and my sister. Because forgive me, I had to catch my breath. So I do remember there was a drive-in theater that we went to, and I was just beginning to be aware of going to movies. And the very first movie I remember seeing was Smokey and the Bandit. And it was a drive-in theater. You'd look up, and there was a big screen, and it was really fun. And I was able to catch on to what was going on well enough. It was a simple enough movie. But what I loved about it was how much fun everybody was having. I enjoyed the fun by proxy of watching everybody else had fun. And that's a spiritual experience. And that's what movies can give us. And so sometimes I want to go see a movie in a theater, and I didn't get to see the Star Wars, that first one, because it had not yet become the franchise that it was to become. With all that came later with all the marketing and everything, and some of that started, but it started really after the movie, because after the movie broke with all its achievements, and it was a wow and explosions in space and everything, you can look at it and say it's a great movie and great production, but then you can go to Empire Strikes Back, and you can definitely tell a difference from the first one out. Like the first movie could have been wonderfully sealed up and its own movie without moving forward, without a continuation, instead of becoming this sprawling saga that it has become. You couldn't do this holiday special today. But I think the Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm about to watch this for the first time. But just from this opening right here, and just the Christmas theme, and they're going to go and they're looking for a gift and everything. Yeah, and all that. You could pretty much tell that it's going to have some echoes, I think, of that Star Wars holiday special, which got panned and forever and trashed out in retrospect, but it added to the fanfare that craved and wanted the rest of the story. So without that Star Wars holiday special, and then at another time, and it may have been a lead-in, or it was a Donnie and Marie show they did. They had a Star Wars theme, uh, and just yeah, I remember that the variety show, and so without those two things, we, the small children at that age, would not have been nearly as fueled to want to see Star Wars. Now, I didn't see it because it had left the theater by the time it had left the drive-in by the time I really got around to having that craving of awareness of wanting to see it. But I saw it later, and yeah, and it was a very fun movie too. And then of course it became, uh, like a franchise really unlike anything that had happened before. So anyway, let's see if I'm right. Let me watch this and let's see. And if you've seen this, or what are your thoughts on this special? And do you remember the Star Wars 77 special? Am I the only one that old? Probably. Okay. Love and light. Bye.